back again. So, second video I'm attempting to make. First one was all over the place. I'm not sure if it really had a clear message, really. But oh well, we'll keep making more, see where this goes, see if stuff I've been researching for a long time can match what other people's beliefs are, or help anybody, or whatever. Who knows? Or it can go absolutely nowhere. Nobody likes me. I made a comment about how the Catholic Church and Judaism is pagan in nature. Which I stand by that with a couple of exceptions. You know what? The majority of both of those groups of people, without a doubt, do those kinds of things that most people, or by definition, would be considered paganism. I'm not saying that Christians or Catholics like you that could be listening to this are pagan. Maybe you just don't understand what those church organizations are actually doing. Maybe you're not part of a church. So obviously I'm not talking about you. Maybe you're a non-denomination or something. Anyway, moving on. There's also a strong relationship between the two. As in between typical Judaism, typical Catholicism, and other Christian forms. Whereas, you got your rabbi, you got your hierarchy within them, you got your pope, and the hierarchy under him, and it's my belief and understanding that both of those systems go against what Jesus was preaching. I can't come to terms with that or agree with that. I don't think that's what the message was about. Kanye, formerly Kanye, I think one of the best statements that guy has made is when he brought up the saying he made about Jesus said yes or Jesus said no, or however he put it. And that I would hope more people would try that and understand that. I went through and found like it's easy to go online if you want. Several websites have already put it together for you. Or if your Bible has the red letters already in it, have at it that way if you like the book instead, actual book in front of you. But anybody else that wants to quickly try this out online, there's websites that have already got it all ready for you. And you just go find one of them, go to it, and just try reading just the red quotations, supposedly from Jesus, directly. It, those websites won't have any of the other stuff in it. And I think that's a good experiment for everybody. You go through that and you read what's supposed to be just his words, and you start to notice patterns. Although, a brief side note on that, I encourage people, I don't care what Bible you want to use, that's your opinion. I had a King James moment. I've had other moments. Right now, because ideally I would try to get my hands on sorry, my lighting is gonna be terrible. There, how's that? I wish I could afford some of these really old versions of the Bible, or even have access to owning one of them, or different ones, or more than one. Like you're talking about old ones, you're gonna need a bunch of different versions. Anyway, my point is, especially when you're reading just the red letter stuff. For me, what I had happen is it was really obvious that certain things were mistranslated, even from whatever you want to call it, book to book or whatever. And one part would make logical sense to you, and then you'd read the next part and you're like, well, that doesn't really seem like the same context with those words that I just read in this other part. What the heck's going on with that? I don't think we're ever going to get the real translations. All you can use is your discernment. We're told that, or it talks about that in there, so you got to rely on that. So what I do is, when I have a certain part that I'm reading that's just not jiving with me, it doesn't seem right, doesn't feel right, I go and pull it up in a different browser or tab, that specific part and all the different versions of the Bible and whatnot. Then I'll even bring up just certain words and translate them to Hebrew and Greek meanings, and see if they match what they say it translated to in the English versions of the Bible. Most times it doesn't. you'll find words that the context they're using it and what they gave us doesn't match, as in like the way we define the word in English, and then you go take that word, you go translate it back in Hebrew, and you translate it back in both forms of Greek. It brings on a whole different meaning. So, I mean, imagine how long it would take somebody to do that with every word given to us from Jesus. I mean, you would be spending a very long time reconfiguring all that. But just reading through just all the red parts, read just that, you're going to notice some things. And then it's also going to be very clear what he was trying to do and what the new commandments were, what the new rules were, the new message. And, you could go on and debate, which, people have tried and nobody can come to a conclusion. There's no historical proof of the ethnicity of him. Make all the arguments you want, nobody can prove it that I've seen. But he if everything he was doing and saying today, if he was doing that right now, it wouldn't be Ye that got the #1 anti-Semite of the Year award. It would be him. That'd be Jesus on that. And it all starts to get a little humorous for me. It's like, man, I'm starting to not believe the stuff you guys are telling me about the historical accuracy of your claims. And, it just gets really interesting. And then you take your journey reading through, go back, like, the whole Roman Empire, which it's funny they call it that, because I think it should be broken down, and maybe somebody has already done this, or they consider it this way already, and I just didn't grasp that part. I don't know. I'm not claiming to be a genius or anything, but all these different Roman rulers, or that was able to gain control over that region and system of government. Those dudes were from all different areas. You got Constantine, which I've already brought up. That's, I think, one of the best guys to dig into. And then you got his son, too, that ruled after him. That's another one to dig deep into. Those guys weren't from Greek descent. They weren't from down south near the Egyptian regions that they had control over either. They weren't from the western side. Those guys were from the eastern region. They called it many different names. Thrace, if I pronounced that right, or basically the region that's now Romania. You know, and that region previously was destroyed by the Roman Empire. So that's kind of funny, little twist. People that were once conquered now rule the conqueror. So, you know, it gets deep when you start looking into all that. And then, you know, you got from ruler to ruler, you got a roller coaster of what the Jews were allowed to do, or you know, like they would go from, all right, just don't kill the Jews, or they're not allowed to be part of the government system, or they're not allowed to own land, or they're not allowed to hear period, or whatever. And then it would go back and forth. And, you know, that's no surprise to a lot of us when you start just reading historical stuff on the many travels of the Jewish people. So, you know, that just goes to show you these people are that way as far as the Jewish people. They stay that way. They don't want to change. They don't follow the teachings of Jesus Christ. They don't even follow the rules originally set forth in the commandments by God. You know, that covenant was broken. They fucked that up. So, you know, all claims they make to be the chosen people, I don't see that they got a leg to stand on in that argument. And then you can go down that other rabbit hole of who's the real Jews? Is it the Jews currently going by the title? Is it the Hebrew, the Black Israelites? Which I think that's, I don't know how they put that one together. Then you got, you know, the whole Aryan race thing. You got, everybody's trying to make the claim. And then, you know, whether everybody's fighting about that part or, you know, all this other stuff we keep fighting over. Trinity. Should we use raisin bread or flat bread? The whole, this is the flesh of Christ, the blood of Christ, now let's consume it. Even though it says not to do that anymore, you know, these people, not just the Jews, but there's a growing number of people considered from pagan beliefs that want to do it too. They want to bring back ritual animal sacrifices. Some even claim human sacrifices. You know, I don't understand why everybody keeps getting on this hamster wheel, all the different hamster wheels of all these different arguments that don't fix anything, don't solve anything. Let's get back to the basics. Did Jesus say it or did he not? And that's the problem with the structured court or church systems. They're not doing it right, none of them are. And they all have a pact with each other. Kind of like they're all in on it and they know that. And I could, if I sat at home and did a live stream, I could pull up fact after fact after fact of how a group of Jewish people would be involved in behind the scenes conducting the whole thing. My thought is and then all right, the Bible. Everybody has their opinions on all that. And I'm not going to make a claim on, like the Book of Enoch or whatever. But if you just start reading as much as you can find, which isn't easy to do these days on the internet on these topics, they keep finding, not like recently, but have always found these different fragments that at one point whatever church leader or whatever king or emperor tried to destroy because they didn't agree with what was being said. And there's a logical problem with that. It's not like they're destroying like degenerate media and books. Hitler or the Nazis in general did a lot of that. They were, that whole book burning thing, the majority of that was, hey, we're tired of these degenerates bringing down our society and ruining our culture with all this stuff and pornography and romance books and all this crap. That's most of the stuff they were burning. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about really important historical writings from people living during arguably the most important time period ever, when Jesus was living on the earth. Anybody, just because you disagree with what the author wrote down, those things shouldn't have been destroyed. So why would you do that? Well, if you got to think, put yourself in their shoes, right? Think how they would think in the time that, hey, this guy wrote things down that go against what I'm pushing and what's keeping me in power or whatever. Or, so if I destroy that document within a couple generations, the only thing people will know is what I was pushing or what I wrote down. Now me and my people have control. And I think that's pretty obvious. That's what all those things were about. So, all the different creeds that were sworn upon in these different councils over the centuries, starting with the, Council of Nicaea or Nicene Council or whatever, and then all the ones after that. Which, fun fact here, this may pique some curiosity of people. How many of those did they have? 7? One of them wasn't counted, so you could say technically 8, but they numbered them, and they claim to have had 7. The unnumbered 8th one, which actually was in the middle, kind of, they said was just a continuation of the 5th or 6th one, I don't remember. Well, what were they doing at these councils? They were deciding what to conceal or seal. Well, that's interesting. 7 seals. You know, what exactly, I mean, go and try to find a record of what all was discussed at these gatherings. You can. You know, I want the minutes on those meetings, you know. I want to know what these jackals were talking about. You ain't gonna find that. Good luck. If you find it, let me know. I would like to read it. You can find bits and pieces, but you're telling me these guys from all over the place, all the high priests, all these dudes, in those time periods traveled that far just to discuss what type of bread or was Mary a virgin or not? I don't think so. I think there are some other nefarious things going on. Just my opinion. Yeah, 7 seals of the 7 councils. But I kind of forget where I was going. Throughout all that, and then in between all those councils, there was a lot of document destruction. So that Bible that you're reading from, trying to learn to figure everything out, it's missing a bunch of stuff. You know, some of those councils, they would, sometimes they'd put stuff back in, and other times they'd just keep taking more stuff out. Like, oh, we don't agree with this anymore, take it out. It's no longer part of our Bible. Alright, well, if you took it out and I can't find a version of it, that's messed up too. I want to read it, because what you start to find out is most of these guys that get to decide what the Word of God is, because they somehow got put in the position of authority. When you start to connect dots on different things while you're researching, it's pretty obvious that they were less concerned with preserving the true Word of God than they were of maintaining alliances and power. And, you know, so if I do start getting comments from people when this channel goes somewhere, I hope people don't try to keep throwing that at me, that I'm a heretic, I need to read my Bible. I'm almost home, so I'm going to wrap this up with something that kind of makes sense. So people talk about, what's the real reason for this war or that war? And you can make some, all right, yeah, this war seemed to have a lot to do with that. Well, I can make another proposal. I don't think there's a war out there that isn't mainly about maintaining religious power or gaining more of it. You know, this whole Zionism thing isn't a 20th century thing. You know, it's pretty old. As far as, and you're really like, oh yeah, of course it goes all the way back. No, I'm talking about like more modern political influence on governments. It's not as old in the United States of them having influence and power over our government or the representatives in our government. That aspect is more modern than Europe. Their influence in Europe goes back further. And, they were plotting this from the get-go. I mean, you go, I don't know the guy's name. I read too much stuff to memorize all the characters and all these stories. But basically, if you just look up the father of Zion or Zionism, you'll find him if you haven't read this already. But he's accredited by the Jews in Israel as the father of it, the guy that made it all happen. And you look up that guy's motives, and it's real obvious he wasn't just, trying to be like, oh, well, my people deserve a place too, a country of our own. We're people too. Oh crap. This ain't all about that. And, there was very early on followers of Christ in that land and of white descent. I mean, we didn't kill Jesus. We conquered that land then. We've conquered all these other regions. So I think I could make a more solid argument that if anybody can lay claim to Jerusalem, Israel, old Palestine, whatever name you want to give these things, if anybody can claim right to it, shouldn't it be us? I don't see how they have a claim to it. All their biblical claims are bogus because they broke God's laws and turned their back on him and don't seem to care about it. So I guess I'll end this one there. I'm going to try to start making notes about what I want to talk about, because I'll start with one idea when I click record, and then I'm all the way out in left field by the end of it, and I don't know if that makes for good content or not. So I'll try to figure out how to make a more coherent video, which is going to be hard for me because I'm not a note taker. I don't really care for writing stuff down, but I'll figure something out. I'm posting this in multiple places under the same name. BitChute's got a problem right now, so, which I'm not making any money off this right now anyway, and don't know if I ever will, and that's not my intent. So before I get to my intent, I'm on other places. I'm still working all that out. I'm going to start doing some live streams at some point. I'm working on that right now. I've got the software all set up and figured out, but I've got channels in different spots right now. I got a Liberty Links thing under the same name that has them all on there, which I need to update that and add the new ones. But Gab TV. All right, phone stopped recording. But yeah, the stuff they're saying, it's either, it's time to finally do something about this, talking about some type of revolution, or some other stupid thing like we gotta make them fix the voting system. Talking about things that are either wrong, not gonna work, gonna get people hurt, killed, imprisoned. Pretty much that. And I think we need to have more people that aren't like that start making channels and, I don't know, balance out all the craziness. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. Either way, that's what I'm doing. It may not go anywhere, but I'm going to try. So I don't know what the next videos are going to be about. I haven't decided yet. I kind of just wing things. It'll probably most likely be all over the place like I am during the videos. So next one could be about growing mushrooms, not the illegal kinds either, and then the one after that might be about who knows what. So it should be an interesting channel, at least, hopefully. But I'm going to end that there. Yeah, I'm in different spots. I'm on Telegram too. Pretty sure the same thing. But yeah, the Liberty Links, that's pretty useful. I'll keep that updated. Hopefully people agree with some of the stuff I'm talking about and want to hear me talk more. But if not, whatever. It's fine. I'll just make videos for myself. All right. So I don't know if it's going to be a daily thing or not, but I'm just making them when I feel like I've got something to say. So look out for the next coming ones. All right. See ya.